Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
UFC is back with a fight night card from the Apex. First card at the Apex in Las Vegas is Batista versus Oliveira. Fun fight. A couple good matchups on this card. Again, it's a fight night card, so your expectations should be lower, guys. On paper, though, there are some good fights, and we'll talk that main card. Like always, I'll break down the main card, provide free picks, leans, price talk, fades, and more. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping to support the system while you profit long term. Currently handicapping the UFC, guys, of course. PGA, Super Bowl this weekend. And then March Madness tournament only. Studying has begun for the tournament. I did it last year. Small profit in the tournament. So we will do one this year. Like the video, guys, if you're watching on YouTube. It helps out a lot. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please review or please share. It does help out a ton. I always say, guys, before the weekend event, before the golf event, before the NFL Super Bowl, you should definitely be listening. That's why I try to make it short, right? Anywhere. Golf a lot shorter, 15 minutes. These podcasts, half an hour, 25 minutes. You can get in and out with all the information that you need. UFC 325 recap. Another profitable event for myself and clients and for podcast listeners. Thanks to Volkanovski. Volkanovski getting the decision win. Only way to bet Volkanovski would be by decision. Why pay? It wasn't a bad price. I think it closed around minus 125, minus 135. It opened around, I think when I did the podcast, it was around 138. The only way he wins that fight's by decision. It was a good price, plus 155 for Volk by decision. Lopez, very difficult to finish. So that was the play. I was able to put a full unit on that, get a nice return there. It just looked like the first fight. It's a fight that should never happen the second time, in my opinion. Dana White just thought, and the matchmakers thought the fight would be exciting, and I don't think it was that exciting. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Same thing happened as the first fight. So, yeah, it's not a fight that I was excited to see. It played out to be that way, played out pretty much to be the same way. So Volk's the smarter fighter. He's going to throw more volume, be better on his feet, and Diego's not going to try to wrestle or grapple or get the fight down to the ground. Diego did have the outside shot of catching Volk with a big shot, but it didn't happen. Co-main, Saint Denis gets the job done versus Hooker. I did expect him to win, but I thought Hooker was decently live at that price. I think he was like plus 240, plus 250. So there was some value there. However, in the end of the day, I did think Saint Denis was going to win the fight. He did. And he's not too far from a title shot, guys. Not that far. Maybe another, I think one would be rich, but definitely if he wins two more fights, guys in the top 10, I do believe he gets a title shot. Hats off to Ruffy. Big win. I stayed away from that. I did lean Faziva on the podcast. Ruffy bounced back nicely. Very impressive win against a very good striker in Faziv. Remember, Ruffy left camp, trained with Volk for that camp. Looks like it paid off. Very impressive bounce back after experiencing his first loss. Teixeira, nice win. I did expect him to win. I actually played him by decision plus 1,200. And actually got there. Very small unit. It was in a for fun parlay. But, I thought there was value there because Teixeira, they're both very slow, right? Bam Bam he has been to decisions before. He's never really had cardio issues, and he showed some durability. So that was a fun little cash there. Hopefully you did back Teixeira, and hopefully it wasn't by finish. And then I did have a nice play on Solakid. He looks for real. He looks like the next big guy out of Australia. Nice win for him. I did take him by finish, and he got the first round finish, so it was a nice cash there. Good start to the year. A good start to the year. We always have high expectations for the UFC market throughout the year, and again, we do. So hopefully you have been tailing. And if you want my personal plays and you want detailed write-ups and unit size, etc., head over to the website. Let's get into it, guys. Let's get into this card. Main event, I told you guys, it's a fun one on paper. It's a close fight. Overall, I don't love this card from a betting standpoint. I like him more like in the rounds type of betting instead of the sides. We'll talk about that here shortly. Batista minus 170 versus Oliveira plus 140. Already value with Oliveira at this price. I have this fight 50-50, to be honest, guys. 50-50. Now, all I give Batista a slight edge due to he's been in big spots and bigger fights than Oliveira. That's the only thing I really give him. Everything is very similar, guys, between these two. Very similar. We'll talk about that here shortly. But Mario, coming off that Umar loss, I expected him to lose that fight. It's just deer in the headlights. Didn't know what to do against him. Didn't look great in that fight. Prior to that, he had that boring Aldo win where he just held him up against the cage. He's not going to be able to do that with Oliveira. Oliveira's a strong, bigger guy. He beat Patchy Mix, who proved that he can't cut it in the UFC. He's been cut. Nice win over Ricky Simone and then also Blackshear. Oliveira hasn't lost in the UFC yet, guys. Notable wins over Ricky Simone, Said Nurmagomedov, and Kyler Phillips. A couple nice wins there for Oliveira. Both guys decision fighters, guys. 3 straight for Oliveira, 5 for Batista. Same reach, same height. The volume is very much the same as well at just over 5 significant strikes per minute. Both guys have a bit of wrestling, but not too much. Now, Oliveira does have the better takedown defense at 80% compared to Batista's 54%. Now, what I find after watching tape Batista, he can be taken down, but he does usually get up, and he has improved his takedown defense over his time. I do expect this fight to mainly play out on the feet. This is a 5-round fight, guys, remember. Slightly lean Batista maybe in the cardio aspect of the fight. I have seen Oliveira slow down in fights later into the fight. But he always finds some way, I feel like, to pick it up. He has that power on the feet. He does have some sneaky wrestling in his back pocket as well. I do believe he lands the bigger strikes in this fight. But again, it's a tough fight to call a winner. I'm always transparent with you guys. That's why when I did my lines, I thought maybe Batista minus 120, maybe a slight favorite. And then I saw this price. So I said, yeah, Oliveira would have to be the play at this plus 140 price for me if I were to bet it. Again, he could land the bigger shots throughout the fight. He may mix in some takedowns. Like I said, Batista's takedown defense not the best, even though he does get up. He's good at getting up if he does get taken down. He does have some sneaky submission game as well, Batista, so he would have to watch out for that Oliveira. Favorite bet here, though, probably would be the over in rounds, over 2.5 rounds. You have to pay up a little bit for that, but that probably would be my favorite. I wouldn't be surprised if this fight goes the distance as well. Like I mentioned, guys, these guys are more decision-style fighters. They're not lethal finishers. They fight the decisions, they mix it up well, and their defense is fairly solid. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes the decision. You get plus money on that. But, yeah, definitely over in the round is going to make probably a round parlay for me, a two-fight round parlay. Could make the client card this week. And then from a side, I'm just going to say value on Oliveira plus 140. Don't love a side here, though, in this fight. If I had to bet it, it would be that price on Oliveira for a smaller unit. Alabazi plus 300 versus Horiguchi minus 400. This is a fun one, right? This is a fun one. Some flyweights. Big price here on Alabazi. Yeah. I don't agree with the price, of course, but there are some reasons for it, right? Long layoff, 1.5 years. Last time he fought was 2024, guys. Late 2024. Higuchi back in the UFC, got a nice win in his return versus Tagir. But just the price is off at minus 400. How do you bet money line Horiguchi minus 400. You don't. So you have to bet him by decision to improve that price. Hard to see a finish here. Now, Albazi had some issues with injuries. He had a bad neck injury, which is concerning. But he's never been finished. Very durable, guys. Very durable. Again, 3-round fight. So if you do play Horiguchi, play the decision prop. The odds are a lot higher that it's going to go decision than they're going to be a finish in this fight. So yeah, over in rounds, fight goes the distance, Horiguchi by decision would be everything I look at here. Stats, both guys very low volume. Alabazi even lower volume. Both guys have poor takedown defense and don't wrestle a ton. I believe Horiguchi lands the bigger shots. I don't believe Alabazi is going to be able to take him down. I think he could take him down, but it's not going to be control, in my opinion. Now, that's what one path Alabazi maybe has, is to kind of just spam takedowns, make it boring, and try to hold them down. It's possible, right? It's possible. But the lean will be Horiguchi by decision. That's the play I would look. My favorite would be definitely the fight goes the distance. That would be my favorite play in this. I don't really see where a finish comes here. So, and it could be a close decision. So if you do have that Horiguchi decision ticket, it might be a close split decision or a very close fight. And you're just banking on how will Alabazi come back from the injury and the time off. Right, his last fight against a very good fighter in Moreno. So this is a step down in competition. He did lose that fight, though. So keep that in mind, guys. Should be a good fight, but we don't really know how Alabazi is going to come back after that time off. You know how me in time off, I usually fade the fight completely or fade the fighter. Almeida minus 160 versus Kanaev plus 130. This is an ugly one, guys. It could be an ugly fight as well, depending on how Almeida approaches it, right? Both guys coming off losses to good opponents, right? Almeida lost to Volkov in a very weird fight. Almeida threw like 9 strikes in the whole fight, but he had a ton of control time and got Volkov down multiple times. He just didn't do anything with it. That's what we could see here again. Hopefully not. Hopefully he's learned from that. UFC is going to cut him. If he does that again, like the Volkov fight, and just hold him down and not do anything with it, UFC could cut him. I wouldn't be surprised. Remember, he's a 185er, went to 205, now he's at heavyweight. Poor striking, guys. Very poor. Kanaev will have a huge striking advantage. Can he keep it standing, though? That's the big question. On paper, it looks good. 90% takedown defense. I just don't know how many guys have been trying to take him down, right? That's the only thing. Sometimes you see the great takedown defense. You really have to look how many fights he's been in the UFC. He hasn't been in a lot. So, he did fight Blades, though. Blades was the guy that he's coming off the loss from, and Blades does try to wrestle, so keep that in mind. If Almeida can't get to this fight down to the ground, he's in big trouble. Right? But like I said, he's going to have to be active on the ground. He's going to have to try to pull up submissions. Otherwise, the ref's either going to stand up or the judges are not going to like it. Remember, damage first, striking first, landing shots first over just bringing a guy down to the ground and holding him there. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about that. Now, if you're holding there in good positions and trying to get up submissions and using some ground and pound, love it. Love it. Right? As the guy on the ground getting taken down and getting held down, get up. Try to get up, right? So that portion of it, I get it. But if you're just taking a guy down and just laying there on top of him, that's where it gets a little comfort. That's where I could see the judges say, he's not doing anything. I'm not going to give him any points for this. So let's see how Almeida approaches this fight. Again, guys, I believe he may try to come out and strike a little more in this one. It could be bad news. So this is a fight I'm staying far away from. It's not a fight you want to bet. My favorite probably would be the over 1.5. Get it at a decent price. That's probably my favorite here in the rounds. From a side I'm totally staying away from. I suggest you guys do as well. Barrio plus 350 versus Mikey O. Yes, Mikey O Olek. I hate trying to pronounce his last name. So we're just going to, Mikey O. Mikey O, the Polish fighter that has moved over to Fighting Nerds. And he's looked great since he has. But minus 450 is not warranted at this price, guys. I get it. I do believe he's going to win. And if you do bet him, you take him by finish because Barrios' chin has been questionable. He's been finished 2 times in his last 3 fights. Better competition. But I do believe Mikey O has turned it around ever since going to train with the Fighting Nerds. 8 first-round KOs, guys. He's a first-round type of fighter, but he has improved, and he has shown that he can go 3 rounds as well. I do believe he just lands the bigger shots throughout the fight. I expect him to get a finish here at some point, right? Barrio had durability issues. As of late, he's getting a little older now. Some chin question marks for the Canadian. A fight I don't see going the 3 rounds. I would be a little surprised. So, the under 2.5 rounds fight, not to go the distance, would be a play you'd want to look at as well. Mikey O by finish would be the only way I can look if I were to bet a side here and an outcome. Just Mikey O 450. Just what are you going to do with that? Even though I put into my famous 2-fight parlays that I hit at a very high volume, it's just not going to damage that parlay to get it to plus money at minus 450. So by finish is the more likely outcome in this one, guys. Should be a fun one, though, as long as it lasts. Here's a fun one. Last fight I'll talk about here. Basharat minus 300 versus Matsumoto plus 240. Now, I like Basharat. He's undefeated in the UFC, guys, 14-0, and we're getting a 14-0 versus 17-1. Matsumoto, this is a good fight against some, younger guys. Just I don't agree with the minus 300 favorite. I did my calculations. I'd have more at minus 200. But I get why I see Basharat as a larger favorite here, and I do believe he wins this fight. Now, Basharat, has fought lower level competition, but he has some decent wins. Right, over Blackshear, Hugo, and Gutierrez. I do think he's the better Basharat of the two. Matsumoto, we know he had his first loss against Rob Font. Tough fight to fight a Rob Font, veteran guy like that, just coming into the UFC. Very tough. I think it was his second fight in the UFC. His wins, Aguilera, he's out of the UFC, Katona, and Miles Johns. Sorry, it's his 3rd fight in the UFC, I believe. So it's a tough one. Tough one to fight Rob Font in your 3rd fight in the UFC. So yeah, low-level wins for Johns. What I see, though, when I look at the stats and the tape, a little concerning with his numbers. Like his striking numbers for Matsumoto, and if you're backing him, you want to be a little concerned here. I get it. There's value up, a little value at plus 240, but let's really look at the fight itself. I think Basharat just kind of outstrikes him and just outsmarts him on the feet. 41% accuracy in his striking, and the defense is concerning at 48%. You saw what Rob Font him. He kind of pieced him up a lot. He was able to hit Matsumoto a lot. I don't think his defense is great. Right, compared to Basharat on the feet, 47% accuracy, a little better, but the defense, 60%. He's a very high Q fighter, Basharat. He finds ways to win fights. He could even mix in some wrestling, possibly. Right, 53% takedown defense for Matsumoto. So I do believe Basharat finds a way, mainly on the feet, but could mix in some wrestling as well. I just think he outstrikes him. And his defense is great. 60% is very good. So I do expect him to find a way here. Probably by decision. That's the way I would look through an outcome standpoint if I were to bet him. That will do it, guys. Bunch of free plays given out to you guys. Of course, I'll have a larger client card with unit sizes and detailed descriptions in the email if you want my client card. That will do it, guys. Like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Fun week, right? You got the waste management, you got UFC, and then you got the Super Bowl. So great week. I'll see you next week.